we're gonna go out onto Bloor Street West. The goal of these videos is to really just give you an idea for what the neighborhood looks like. We've got these massive networks built out across the country to assist you with buying and selling wherever you are. So this is kind of coffee shop culture, as I like to call it, right? All right, everybody, welcome to the Annex. This is a pretty awesome neighborhood. I actually spent a little bit of time living here back when I worked in downtown Toronto, so I know it quite well. But yeah, today we're taking a tour of the Annex, going over kind of the vibe, housing, amenities, transportation, what it's like to live here basically, and just giving you kind of a walking tour of this beautiful neighborhood. So yeah, again, I was here back in I think 2016, spent a couple months here at my uncle's spot before I got a place, and I loved it. I mean, right away, I was working downtown Toronto, pretty much door to door. When you hop on the subway, it was and I was smack dab middle of downtown. I think it was 25 minutes from door to door. So very accessible neighborhood. You're close. There's a few subway stops kind of in the neighborhood along Bloor Street, which is where one of the lines, I guess, run. So when we're talking about the neighborhood, where these subway stations are, all that stuff. We've got Bloor West as our south boundary, Bathurst as our west boundary, DuPont as our north boundary, and Avenue Road as our east boundary. So, you've got, what we're gonna do is just take a look at a few side streets here. We're gonna go out onto Bloor Street West, which is where a lot of the commercial kind of is. And yeah, but sorry, without getting too out of control here on what I'm talking about, the subway stations are Bathurst, DuPont is to the north, George, and Spadina, and there's some bus lines, and then there's tram lines on Spadina, Bathurst, and then there's bus lines kind of around the outskirts of the neighborhood too. So there's a few options there, but this is a neighborhood that's very close by to universities, or the U of T, as well as the ROM. So you do get a bit, although there's a lot of professionals that live here, you get a bit of that kind of student vibe. So you get a little bit of that youthfulness breathed into the neighborhood, which is cool. And along Bloor Street, you get a lot of coffee shops, boutiques. It's very trendy, young, there's restaurants here, and basically everything you need. If we were to look north to DuPont, there's some kind of bigger box stuff there with actual parking lots, whereas Bloor Street West is more like, walk-in, low-scale commercial. So a couple of stories. Usually the bottom floor is commercial or stores, and then above is apartments. And for those of you tuning into this channel for the first time, our goal here is to make content on Canadian cities, large Canadian cities, focusing on neighborhood tours, as well as kind of what it's like to live in those cities, so that if and when it comes time for you to make a move, we've got these massive networks built out across the country to assist you with buying and selling wherever you are. And we always love to chat with people. And any feedback we have on these videos, whether it's the neighborhood tours or some of the other kind of living in city videos, we always love to hear about that, because it allows us to make better content that's more valuable to people like you. So that's our goal here, is to just help people make their move, whether it's between provinces or from outside of the country into Canada. We've helped a lot of people, and we always love it. when people reach out, especially via the YouTube channel. Okay, so now we are back, or I guess we are on Bloor Street West. So this is where your subway line kind of runs east to west across the city. And I'm gonna get on the other side of the street just because the lighting's here. But, you know, as you can see, there's little restaurants, shops, it's cool little galleries, you know. But as I noticed before, you know, it's a little trickier to do parking. So this is kind of coffee shop culture, as I like to call it, right? You can walk here, it's not too far, get everything you kind of need. And yeah, the Neighbourhoods vibe is just really kind of, it's a big mix, right? You have obviously some wealthy people that live in the annex that would own the houses and want to commute downtown. It's a super quick commute. But then you've also got a fair amount of students and renters that want to be close to downtown or go to university and want to be nearby. So if there's that youthfulness, and that's pretty great as well. Okay, we're gonna try to cross. All right, so we're gonna tuck back in to the neighborhood a little bit, give you guys a bit more of a view of the actual real estate. You know, the annex, I would say the condo buildings are kind of on the borders of the actual neighborhood. You're not going to find any, like, I shouldn't say that. Over by Spadina Station, there's some apartment buildings, but generally the condos and whatnot are going to be kind of to the borders of the neighborhood. And that's just, you know, keep a bit of that residential vibe, I guess, within the neighborhood. Again, these streets, a lot of them have speed bumps and they're kind of traffic controlled just to keep people from flying through here. Speed limit in the Toronto core on the residential areas is 30 kilometers an hour. And yeah, I guess this is a good time to kind of talk about housing. So, you know, you've got a decent variety. You do have condos here. You've got houses. So I was looking basically right before I came here to see what inventory was available. The cheapest thing I could find was a small condo. It was on the outskirts on DuPont Street, and that was for $650K. And then the cheapest house I could find, townhome, was 1.6 million. So there's a lot of townhomes in here, and there's, you know, a decent amount of detached, definitely more townhomes. But it's not the biggest area. So it you know, depending on when you're looking, might require either a little waiting or a little bit of give and take in terms of what you're looking for, if your timeline's a little quicker. And yeah, you know, as with anything in real estate, whether it's Toronto or a lot of parts of Canada, you kind of get what you pay for, right? So those price points I quoted were the low end, and then depending on how much extra space you want, work done, work that's already been completed, or you know, maybe a little bit larger plot of land, whatever it may be, you're going to pay significantly more for those features. Okay, folks. Well, I guess the only other thing that I should add, the one, I guess, downside, it's not really a downside, but of this area is that there's not like readily accessible park space. There's little kind of corner parks where you can, take the dog for a run, like a little playground, but it's not like you've got big open fields or walking trails or anything really here. And that's just because we're so centrally located and we're not really near any of the ravines that dot Toronto that are often have pathways that kind of run alongside them. We're coming up to one of the little parks here, which you can see, but you're just not going to find the best park space like some other neighborhoods that I've seen and that are included on this channel. So this is one of the bigger kind of park spaces of the area. So again, good place to kind of, I don't know, I guess you can read a book, have a coffee, throw the ball for the dog. But yeah. All right, we're coming out on the Bathurst. And I can kind of show you what Bathurst looks like as well. Again, the goal of these videos is to really just give you an idea for what the neighborhood looks like. Do a better job than what Google does with the Google Earth man, or the Google cars that drive around the streets taking pictures. One thing I kind of forgot to mention, I guess, if we were to go a little bit further east on Bloor Street, you'd get to kind of little Koreatown, which is cool. They got some good restaurants there. Or wait, did I say east? I meant west. So, they've got good little grocers, restaurants, stuff like that, servicing that community, businesses. And then if we're kind of head south from there, or even, I guess, south from Bathurst / in between Bathurst and Spadina, you'd eventually get to Kensington Market. So we're on Bathurst right now. But Kensington Market is another cool spot, So Bathurst here, we've got a mix of commercial and residential applications. It's not really like Bloor where you run into a lot more of the just small scale commercial, like this stuff. It's like, that's Bloor, and then you'll run into some of those larger condo buildings here and there. But DuPont, again, to the north boundary is also similar to this, only they tend to have larger lots for like, whether it's a Loblaws or an LCBO, the liquor store, stuff like that. You'll find a bit more of that up on DuPont. And again, I don't know if you can see it, but these are the tram lines that run north-south along Bathurst, and there's some over by Spadina. Yeah, okay, I think that pretty much ends it. Again, for people tuning in here, this channel, we're trying to come up with more content on Canadian neighborhoods all across this awesome country, just to give you an idea for what it's like to live in our cities, as well as the great neighborhoods that the country has to offer. So if you're into that stuff, feel free to subscribe. I'm trying to come out with content pretty regularly. And be sure to hit the bell so that you know when we're posting, and it helps us rank so we can reach more people like you and grow the channel as well. And if you got anything to add to these tours, leave a comment. I tend to bank a lot of tours and then post them over time. So, if if I get the comments in one city, I'll use it in the next city type deal. But yeah, other than that, have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.